Welcome to this morning's DMRC meeting.
Convener, sorry to interrupt. Could I just ask Sandra or John to confirm that the live stream has started?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, can we move on to item 1, which is apologies and substitutes?
No apologies, Convener.
Okay, thank you. And declarations of interest or of transparency? Not seeing any comments there, so we'll move on to the minutes of the previous meetings, and I think we have actually got 3 sets of minutes to consider. So if members happy with those, if they've attended the meeting, I've certainly had a look at them this morning and they look all right to me. Is everyone content with the minutes from the 3 previous meetings?
Yes.
Okay, I'm seeing nods of heads there. We'll move on to item 4, which is 35E St James's Road, Forfar. And have you got some information there, Mrs. Forsyth, on that one?
Yes, Convener, and just to advise that the applicant has withdrawn the notice of review.
Okay, thank you for that. So that one is effectively now finished, and we can move on to the next item, which is item 5, land 150 metres west of Netherton Cottages, Mimas, Forfar. And I guess I will hand over at this point to Mr. McGuinness, who will make a statement for us on behalf of the planning service.
Thanks, Chair. The case in front of members today is for the non-determination of planning application 20-00500 FULL in respect of the siting of 2 glamping units and associated works at land 150 metres west of Netherton Cottages in Memlis and Forfar. As members will recall, there was a report in National Planning Framework 4 submitted to Development Standards Committee on the 14th of February 2023. That report informed the committee of the changes NPF 4 will bring about as part of the development plan and its implications for development management and DMRC going forward. In the context of DMRC and as planning advisor to this committee, the application in front of you will require to be assessed against NPF 4 before you make a decision on it. This is because NPF 4 forms part of the development plan alongside the Angus Local Development Plan 2016 and therefore falls within the requirements of section 25 and 37.2 of the Town and Country Planning Scotland Act 1997 as amended. As members are aware, you are required to determine the case in line with the development at the time the planning decision is made. Therefore, it is my advice to committee that you cannot proceed to properly determine this case without further procedure, i.e. until such times as further written representations on NPF 4 in relation to this case are provided by the Development Management section of the Planning Service. Proceeding to determine this case without an assessment against NPF 4 would result in an invalid decision and could lead to judicial review if the case is determined without this assessment. This is also the advice of the Chief Planner of Angus Council, and I understand the legal advisor to the committee. Once the view of development management on the merits of the case assessed against NPF 4 is known, I'd be in a position to present the full case to members in the manner of committee's choosing, which I would recommend should be at the later meeting of DMRC. And back over to you, Chair.
Okay, thanks very much, Mr. McGuinness. I think that is a pretty clear and strong advice, and it is certainly as what we were advised by Mr. Hunter at the Development Standards meeting last week. I think there is, so what we are saying is we do not have enough information to determine this case today, and we will ask the planning service to provide this additional information, and we will give them 28 days to do that. That's a bit longer than normal, but we're conscious that there is serious staffing issues within planning, and we need to give them a little bit more time. I think, however, we can do a little bit of parallel tracking here, and I'm going to suggest to the members of the committee that we organise an unaccompanied site visit in the interim so that we can look at the site, and that at least moves things forward a bit. Obviously, we'll have to then schedule in the meeting once we get the report from planning and once the applicant has had a chance to respond to that report. I'm also conscious that we have, significant holidays over the next 2, 3, 4 weeks. So planning all of this in is going to be a wee bit of a task. So yeah, I'd like to recommend that we have an unaccompanied site visit, and we can ask Mrs. Forsyth to organise that at a suitable time. We obviously have got at least 4 weeks to organise that without delaying things any further. Are we agreed to that?
Agreed.
Okay. Everyone happy with where we're going on this one? And I have to say apologies to the applicant. MPF4 is a very significant change in the planning law, and we have to take cognizance of that. Mrs. Forsyth, yes, on you go.
Yes, convener. It was just to clarify in terms of the mission and the written procedure notice. So what members are asking for is a statement on National Planning Framework 4 in respect of the proposed development, with the information to be provided to the Director of Legal and Democratic Services within 28 days of the date of the written procedure notice, with a copy to be provided to the applicant, who will then be allowed a 14-day period to respond to that written procedure notice. Is that correct?
That would be sensible. And I see we've got Councillor Brays at the meeting now. I'm not sure. We'll have to take legal advice whether you can. We'll have to take legal advice whether you can take part in this further on, but we haven't actually really discussed very much, apart from the fact that we're now going to ask for the NPF4 advice, and we will have a site visit. So, okay, I think that's probably us. Thank you for your attendance this morning. Have you got something else to say, Sarah?
I think it would be worthwhile maybe just clarifying in terms of Councillor Bray's participation in the meeting. I think we have agreed that we need further written information, and members have agreed to an unaccompanied site visit. So in my mind, the process has started, but I would be grateful for some legal advice in terms of that.
Well, I just wonder whether Ms. Burns could give us advice now on that one. I think she's on the call, or is she hooked into your phone, or how are we getting? We're getting our way.
She's on the call, convener. Okay,
right. Perhaps we could just ask for that advice whether Councillor Brays can participate in this one or not, because he was a bit late joining the meeting. So again, if we could get some advice on that one, that would be helpful.
Yes, it would be helpful to know at what stage Councillor Brays did attend, i.e. what was actually missed by him in relation to this particular meeting. I'm sorry, I was slightly late in joining myself, and so I wasn't, I didn't see what was happening in that respect.
Well, I think I would give you my perspective that we haven't actually discussed anything about the application at all, apart from the fact that because of the change in the planning law, we need additional information. And Mr. McGuinness has explained that we need that additional information. We didn't actually talk at all about the merits or otherwise of this particular application at all. And we did agree that we should have a site visit, an unaccompanied site visit. So that's really all the discussion that took place about this application. So there was no specifics at all being discussed. So that's my perspective, and I think Councillor Brays joined us towards the point where we were talking about the site visit, I think. So he missed the discussion of MPF4, but that was essentially a general statement, I would think. But Mr. McGuinness, I see you've got your hand up. And
it was just I was waiting for the right time. As part of the request, and this was for members, whether they may want to make a separate call on this, it's just for clarity, because this is a non-determination as well, Councillor Duff, the further written submission should also be on the implications in the current local development plan as well, not just MPF4. So it's just to clarify that. I was just waiting for the right opportunity to come in. So it might be that members wish to further alter their decision and allow Councillor Brace to come in that way, because we're asking for further written submissions in the local development plan as well, if Miss Burns agrees with that.
Yes, I certainly would agree. If that is what members wish, it would certainly seem appropriate in the circumstances.
Yeah, okay. Councillor Braze, I see you've put your hand up.
Yes, I would definitely concur with that. And that's all I've got to say in the matter. That I don't see any reason why I shouldn't further participate in this case, because I'm totally in agreement with everything, which is going to go ahead because it has to go ahead. There was no decision really to make here, was there?
Yeah,
And
I think
we're about to agree it now, but
yeah.
you know, it's.
Yeah, I think in fairness, there was absolutely no information about the application discussed
Yes.
in Councillor Bray's absence, and therefore it would seem bizarre if we prohibited him from taking part in the rest of the case, because we've not discussed it at all. So I'm certainly happy on that basis that Councillor Braze participates in the rest of the case. So at that point, I think we can thank you for your attendance this morning. Apologies for the delayed start. That was due to IT problems. And again, apologies for the... sorry, I've got Mr McGuinness got his hand up as well.
Sorry, Councillor Duff, just for the record, our members' written procedure on the local development plans implications for this non-determined case as well. It's just so we do this properly and legally. So Sarah has that as well as part of the further written procedures. And so there's no redress in terms of legalities going forward. I just need to remind you that that needs to be agreed by members as well.
Yeah,
Agreed.
Our members agreed with that. Yeah,
Agreed.
Yeah, okay, that's super. Okay, I think at that point.
And my apologies can be there for my very late attendance. It was completely unavoidable, unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that apologies accepted. So, okay. Again, and apologies to the applicant for the delay. These really are frankly out with our control. We're given very strong advice by both planning and legal that we need to consider the new Planning Act. Otherwise, we could get into all sorts of legal difficulties. So, we will organise the unaccompanied site visit sometime in the next several weeks. And we know that there's going to be a delay of up to 28 days for the planning service to give us this additional information. And then the applicant will get an opportunity to respond to that. So at that point, I will call the meeting to an end and wish you a good day.
Thanks, Convener.
Thank you.
Cheers, Convener. Bye.